Just a month ago, I'd attended my grandfather's funeral. I secretly slipped a cell phone into his coffin because it was his favorite thing when he was alive. After grandfather was buried, I missed him terribly, so I sent a text message to his phone. The moment I put my phone down, fierce winds suddenly began howling outside, followed by thunder and lightning. The next morning, I was shocked to discover that I had received a reply text from grandfather. It contained a strange coded message that only he and I understood. I was absolutely terrified and rushed downstairs to tell my father. I insisted that grandfather wasn't really dead, and that we needed to dig up his grave immediately to save him. But father didn't believe me at all, so I showed him the text message on my phone. He explained that it was probably just a signal malfunction, or maybe the phone had a virus. But seeing how persistent I was, father finally told me the truth. The coroner had already performed an autopsy on the body, and grandfather had indeed died from a sudden heart attack. Even so, I still couldn't believe it. The coded message in that text was something only grandfather and I knew. It was clearly a distress signal, so I rushed to the cemetery and called grandfather's phone. Then I lay down on the ground and listened carefully. What I never expected was that I could actually hear a phone ringing from underground. This meant the phone hadn't been taken by anyone. It was definitely buried down there. I was instantly terrified. I couldn't understand what was happening. Was grandfather still alive? Later, I went to grandfather's house, hoping to find some clues, but after searching for hours, I found nothing unusual. A month passed this way, and I gradually began to recover from my grief. At the Christmas party that evening, I simply asked my crush Jenny to dance. This made the jealous Mike drag me outside and beat me up. Before leaving, he pinned me to the ground and threatened me. Because I was afraid of Mike's revenge, I didn't dare tell the teachers about it. So I secretly hid in the bathroom and called grandfather's voicemail. First, I told him how much I missed him. Then I explained how Mike had bullied me, admitting that I was cowardly and weak, and even too scared to go to school. What I never expected was that the next day, a classmate texted me, saying that Mike, who had beaten me up yesterday, was dead. I couldn't believe it was true, so I went to the scene with my classmate. Sure enough, I saw Mike's body being carried away by the police. Later, I learned from the coroner that Mike had died in a horrific way. His body was arranged in a bizarre pose with his arms crossed, exactly the position Mike had pinned me in yesterday. I was certain this had something to do with grandfather, and I began to feel anxious, until one night, when I couldn't contain my curiosity any longer, I called grandfather again. I poured out all my doubts and confusion, but just as I hung up the phone, grandfather actually called me back.